The massive metal doors slid open with a soft hiss. Jack Collins took a deep breath and stepped forward, feeling the weight of humanity on his shoulders. Beside him walked Linda Morrison, her face calm despite the tension they both felt. They were the first humans to enter the grand chamber of the Galactic Council. The room was huge, with curved walls that reached up toward a clear dome showing the stars beyond. Beings of all shapes, sizes, and colors sat in tiered seats that formed a half-circle around the central speaking area. Some had scales, others fur. Some had multiple eyes, while others had none that Jack could see. They represented 27 different alien species, and all of them were now looking at the two humans. Representatives of Earth approach called a tall, blue-skinned alien with 4 arms. His voice was translated through the small devices in Jack and Linda's ears. The 2 ambassadors walked to the center of the room. They had trained for months for this moment, humanity's formal introduction to the galactic community. First contact had happened just 6 months ago, when an alien ship appeared near Jupiter. "I am Counselor Zeth," the blue alien said. "We welcome Earth's representatives to the Galactic Council chamber." Linda stepped forward. "We thank you for this honor and bring greetings from all people of Earth." The meeting started well. The Council asked questions about Earth's cultures, technologies, and governance. Jack and Linda answered honestly, speaking of humanity's achievements while acknowledging their flaws. After 2 hours, the tone changed. A reptilian alien with dark green scales stood up. "We have studied your broadcasts and historical records," it said in a harsh voice. "Humans fight wars against each other over land, resources, beliefs. You damage your own planet. You create weapons that could destroy your entire civilization. You are unpredictable and dangerous." Jack tried to respond. "We've made mistakes, yes, but we learned from them. In the last century, we've made great progress toward peace and—" "Progress," interrupted another council member, this one looking like a tall insect. "Your species still fights, still threatens itself with extinction, still acts on emotion rather than logic." More council members stood to speak. Each one pointed out humanity's flaws, their violence, their unpredictability, their short lifespans that made them hasty and reckless. Linda stepped forward. "Please understand. We're young as a species. We're still growing, still learning. Give us a chance to prove ourselves as members of this galactic community." The chamber went quiet. The blue alien, Counselor Zeth, looked almost sad. "We have seen species like yours before," he said softly. "Those who burn bright but unstable. The Council exists to maintain peace and order in the galaxy. We cannot risk allowing a potentially destructive force to spread beyond its origin." "What are you saying?" Jack asked, feeling a chill run down his spine. "We will vote now," announced Zeth. One by one, the representatives of each species cast their votes. Jack and Linda watched in growing horror as the result became clear. Only 3 species voted in their favor. "The decision is made," Zeth declared. "Earth and its solar system will be placed under quarantine. A barrier will be erected at the edge of your system. No human ships may pass beyond it. No council ships will enter. You are confined to your solar system until such time as the Council deems humanity has evolved beyond its dangerous nature." "You can't do this," Jack protested. "You can't just lock away an entire species." "The alternative would be extinction," said the reptilian alien coldly. "Be grateful for our mercy." Within a week, strange ships positioned themselves beyond Pluto's orbit. They activated technology beyond human understanding, creating an invisible wall around the entire solar system. Earth was cut off from the stars. Humanity was exiled to their small corner of the galaxy. President Garcia addressed the stunned people of Earth in a global broadcast. "Today, we face a challenge unlike any in human history. We have been judged and found wanting by those who do not truly know us. But this is not the end. This is just the beginning. If they think a wall can contain human ingenuity and spirit, they will learn they are mistaken. Today we are exiled. Tomorrow, we will prove them wrong." 20 years passed since the day the barrier went up around Earth's solar system. The world had changed in ways no one could have predicted. Before the exile, nations fought over land and resources. After it, they found a common enemy in the Galactic Council that had judged them unworthy. Old enemies became allies. The United Earth government formed 5 years after the quarantine began. President Samantha Wells stood at the window of her office in New Geneva, looking out at the city below. At 53, she had gray streaks in her dark hair, but her eyes remained sharp and determined. "Madam President, Dr. Garcia is here," said her assistant. Alan Garcia walked in, carrying a tablet. The physicist looked tired, with dark circles under his eyes, but there was excitement in his face. "We found something," he said without greeting. He placed the tablet on the desk, showing a complex display of energy readings. "Is this from the barrier?" Wells asked. Garcia nodded. "The unmanned probes we've been sending out for years finally gave us useful data. The barrier isn't solid. It has weak spots, places where the energy field fluctuates. Can we break through these weak spots? Maybe, but we need a ship capable of doing it." Wells smiled. "Come with me." An hour later, they stood in a secret facility beneath the lunar surface. Through a massive viewing window, they could see a huge ship under construction. Workers in spacesuits moved around it like bees around a hive. "The EDS Pathfinder," said Wells. "We've been building it for 8 years." "EDS who?" asked Garcia. "Earth Defense Ship," said a new voice. They turned to see Navy Commander Kate Delgado approaching. She wore a crisp blue uniform with 4 stars on each shoulder. "It's almost ready for its first test flight." "Commander Delgado has been overseeing the project," said Wells. "Kate, Dr. Garcia may have found a way past the barrier." Delgado's eyes widened. "Really? How soon can we try?" "First, we need to finish our calculations," Garcia replied. "My team needs more data on these weak points in the barrier. They seem to move, following patterns we don't fully understand yet." "You'll get whatever you need," Wells promised. 3 months later, the Pathfinder was ready. Unlike the clunky ships of the past, it was sleek and elegant. Its hull contained metals that didn't exist 20 years ago, created in labs specifically to deal with the unknown challenges of space. Its engines used fusion technology that was just a dream before the exile. Commander Delgado selected her crew carefully. Ryan Novak, a brilliant engineer who could fix almost anything. Dr. Elizabeth Bennett, who studied alien languages from the brief contact humans had with the Council. And 20 other men and women, all among the best Earth had to offer. The night before launch, Delgado couldn't sleep. She walked through the empty corridors of the lunar base until she reached the observation deck. To her surprise, Dr. Garcia was already there. "Nervous?" he asked. "Would you think less of me if I said yes?" she replied. Garcia smiled. "I'd think less of you if you weren't." They stood in silence, looking at the stars beyond the lunar landscape. 20 years ago, they thought they could contain us," Delgado said quietly. "They didn't understand what happens when you cornered humans." "We get creative," Garcia replied. "We get dangerous," Delgado corrected. "My grandfather used to say that the most dangerous animal is one with no escape route." The next morning, the crew boarded the Pathfinder. People all over Earth watched on screens as the ship rose from the lunar surface. It was humanity's most advanced creation, built with a single purpose: to break free. President Wells addressed the world as the Pathfinder left lunar orbit, heading toward the edge of the solar system where the barrier waited. "Today marks the beginning of a new chapter for humanity," she said. "For 20 years, we have been prisoners in our own solar system. For 20 years, we have been developing, planning, and building. The Galactic Council believed that by exiling us, they were containing a threat. They were wrong. They weren't containing a threat. They were creating one." The Pathfinder accelerated, carrying humanity's hopes toward the stars. and freedom. The Pathfinder moved through the dark space beyond Neptune, approaching the invisible line where the barrier waited. On the bridge, Commander Delgado sat in the captain's chair, her back straight and her face calm despite the tension she felt inside. "Distance to barrier?" she asked. 50,000 kilometers in closing," replied the young navigator, Paul Winters. His fingers hovered over the controls, ready to change course if needed. Dr. Garcia stood beside Delgado, watching the main screen. It showed nothing but stars, but they all knew the barrier was there. The instruments detected it, a wall of energy that had kept humanity trapped for 20 years. "The weak point should appear in about 6 minutes," Garcia said, checking his data tablet. "These fluctuations follow patterns, like waves in water." Ryan Novak spoke up from his engineering station. "All systems at full power, Commander. Shields are holding steady." Dr. Elizabeth Bennett sat nearby, monitoring communications. Though they didn't expect to meet aliens immediately, her skills might be needed if they encountered any Council technology with language components. "Everyone remember," Delgado said to her crew, "no one has ever done this before. If anything looks wrong, speak up immediately." The minutes passed slowly. On Earth and the Moon, billions of people watched their screens, holding their breath. The Pathfinder was humanity's best hope. "Weak point detected," Garcia suddenly announced, pointing at his screen. "It's forming exactly where we predicted." "Can you see it?" Delgado asked. "Not with eyes," Garcia explained. "But our instruments can. The energy density is dropping in a specific area about 5 kilometers wide. It's like a door that's slightly open." "Can we fit through that door?" Delgado asked. "The Pathfinder is 4 kilometers at its widest point," Novak said. "It will be tight, but possible." "How long will the weak point last?" Delgado wanted to know. Garcia checked his data. Based on previous patterns, about 3 minutes. Delgado took a deep breath. "This is our chance." Winters set course directly for the weak point. "Full speed." "Yes, Commander," Winters replied, adjusting their path. The Pathfinder accelerated toward the invisible barrier. The crew fell silent, each person focused on their job. The only sounds were the soft beeps of instruments and the low hum of the engines. 1 minute to contact," Winters announced. "Divert all extra power to the front shields," Delgado ordered. "Done," Novak confirmed. Dr. Bennett spoke up. "Commander, I'm picking up energy patterns that could be communications. Very faint, but definitely artificial." "Council monitoring stations?" Delgado asked. "Possibly," Bennett replied. "They don't seem to have noticed us yet." 30 seconds to contact," Winters said. Garcia's eyes never left his screen. "The weak point is starting to shrink. We need to hurry." 15 seconds. Delgado gripped the arms of her chair. "Everyone hold on. This might get rough." 10 seconds. The bridge crew braced themselves. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The Pathfinder hit the barrier's weak point. The ship shuddered violently. Warning lights flashed across every control panel. A deep groaning sound filled the air as the ship's hull strained against the enormous pressure. "Shields failing," Novak shouted over the noise. "Hull integrity at 60% and dropping." "Keep going," Delgado ordered. "Full power." The vibrations grew worse. A panel near Bennett exploded in sparks, but she stayed at her post. "We're halfway through," Garcia reported, his voice shaking from the vibrations. "The weak point is closing faster than expected." "Engines at 110%, Novak said. "They can't take much more of this." Delgado stood up, as if her own will could push the ship forward. "We are not stopping now. Push it to 120%. The ship lurched forward with renewed force. The groaning of the hull grew louder, threatening to tear apart at any moment. And then suddenly, everything stopped. The shaking, the noise, the pressure, all gone in an instant. Status report, Delgado demanded. Winters checked his instruments, then looked up with wide eyes. Commander, we're through. We've passed the barrier. A moment of stunned silence fell over the bridge. Then cheers erupted from the crew. Some laughed, others cried with relief. Delgado allowed herself a small smile. Send the message to Earth. Bennett nodded, her hand steady as she typed the simple code they had prepared. Birds have left the nest. Humanity had just taken its first step back to the stars. The Pathfinder drifted in space beyond the barrier, its engines humming softly as the crew took stock of their situation. Commander Delgado ordered a full damage assessment, while Dr. Garcia studied the readings from the barrier crossing. Hull integrity at 75%. Novak reported from his station. We lost some outer plating, but the essential systems are intact. We can make repairs. What about the barrier behind us? Delgado asked Garcia. The physicist frowned at his screen. It's sealed up again. The weak point we used is gone. We'd need to find another one to get back. Let's worry about that later, Delgado decided. First, let's see what's out here. For the first time in 20 years, humans were looking at stars without the faint distortion caused by the barrier. The feeling was both exciting and terrifying. They were truly alone, far from home, in uncharted territory. Commander, called Bennett from her communication station. I'm detecting unusual energy signatures from the outer planets of our solar system. Show me, Delgado ordered. Bennett sent the data to the main screen. It showed several small but distinct energy sources on the distant dwarf planets beyond Pluto. Those aren't natural, Garcia said, examining the patterns. Those are artificial structures. Council monitoring stations, Delgado suggested. No, Garcia shook his head. The technology signature is different. And look at this. They've been there for a long time. Centuries, maybe. Delgado's expression hardened. Set a course for the nearest one. Let's take a closer look. The Pathfinder changed direction, heading toward a small icy dwarf planet. As they approached, they saw something that none of them expected. A mining operation. Machinery, dormant but intact, sat on the planet's surface. Scan for resources, Delgado ordered. Novak ran the scan, then whistled softly. Commander, this planet is rich in rare elements. Elements we've been struggling to find enough of on Earth. There's enough here to build 100 ships like the Pathfinder. And the Council never told us, Delgado said quietly. They kept us ignorant of the resources in our own solar system. After documenting the mining site, they moved on, examining 2 more abandoned outposts. Each one told the same story. Valuable resources that humans had never been allowed to know about. These weren't built by the Council, Garcia concluded after studying the technology. They're older and the design is different. I think we weren't the first species to be exiled here. The implications of this discovery were enormous. The Pathfinder continued its journey, carefully avoiding the detection of any Council sensors. They set course for the nearest star system, a journey that would take 2 weeks even with their advanced engines. During that time, the crew repaired the ship and processed what they had learned. The Council had not just confined humanity, they had deliberately hidden resources that could have helped Earth's development. On the 14th day of their journey, Bennett called Delgado to her station. Commander, I'm detecting a signal. It's artificial, and it's following us. Hostile? Delgado asked, immediately alert. I don't think so. It's keeping its distance, and it's not matching any Council signatures in our database. Open a channel, Delgado ordered. Bennett worked her controls, then nodded. Channel open. This is Commander Kate Delgado of the Earth Defense Ship Pathfinder. We are on a peaceful mission of exploration. Please identify yourself. For a long moment, there was no response. Then a voice came through, speaking in slightly accented English. We have been watching your world for many years. Humans, we did not expect you to break free so soon. This is impressive. Who are you? Delgado asked. We are the Viridians. Like you, we were judged and exiled by the Council. Like you, we refuse to accept our prison. We have much to discuss, Commander Delgado. The Council is not what they claim to be. What do you mean? They are not benevolent guardians. They are exploiters who exile species they cannot control or use. And you, humans, have arrived just in time. Follow our beacon coordinates. Meet us and learn the truth about the galaxy you have re-entered. Delgado looked at her crew, seeing her own mix of caution and curiosity reflected in their faces. After a brief discussion, the decision was made. The Pathfinder changed course, following the Viridian beacon toward an uncertain but potentially revolutionary meeting. The Pathfinder followed the Viridian beacon to a small rocky planet orbiting a red dwarf star. The planet looked lifeless from orbit, but sensors detected artificial structures beneath the surface. They've built everything underground, Garcia observed. Smart. Harder for Council ships to detect. A transmission guided them to a hidden landing pad concealed by a holographic projection of bare rock. As the ship settled down, Delgado prepared a small team to meet their hosts: herself, Bennett, Garcia, and 2 security officers. Novak, you have the ship, she said. If anything happens to us, your orders are to return to Earth with what we've learned. The team exited through the airlock into an artificial cavern large enough to hold several ships the size of the Pathfinder. The air was breathable but had a slight metallic taste. 4 beings waited for them. They were humanoid but clearly alien. Tall and slender with pale blue skin that seemed to shimmer slightly. Their eyes were large, with no visible pupils, just swirling patterns of silver. One stepped forward. I am Zora. Welcome to Haven, Commander Delgado. Bennett whispered to Delgado. They've been monitoring our communications to know your name. Delgado nodded slightly, then addressed Zora. Thank you for your invitation. We have many questions. As do we, Zora replied. But first, come. There are others you should meet. They followed the Viridians through tunnels carved into the planet's crust. The walls glowed with soft light from an unknown source. After walking for 10 minutes, they entered a large chamber where representatives of 5 different species sat around a curved table. The Coalition of the Exiled, Zora explained. All of us were judged by the Council and found wanting. All of us escaped our prisons. Delgado looked around in amazement. Some of the aliens looked nearly human. Others were drastically different. One appeared to be made of crystalline structures, while another looked like a floating mass of tentacles. How many of you are there? Garcia asked. Currently, 6 species including the Viridians, Zara answered. You humans would be the 7th. 7 out of how many exiled? Delgado wanted to know. A being that resembled a tall insect spoke, its words translated through a device around its neck. The Council has been exiling species for over 10,000 years. We estimate at least 50 species have been quarantined. 50, Bennett gasped. That's almost twice the number of species in the Council itself. Yes, Zora confirmed. The Council claims to represent galactic civilization, but they are merely the species willing to follow their rules and hierarchies. Over the next several hours, the humans learned the truth about the Galactic Council. They weren't protectors. They were exploiters who used their advanced technology to control resource-rich worlds. Species that resisted were labeled as dangerous and quarantined. Why not just destroy worlds that resist? Delgado asked. 2 reasons, Zara explained. First, it would reveal their true nature to member species who genuinely believe the Council is benevolent. Second, they prefer to keep options open. A quarantined species might eventually prove useful. Meanwhile, back on Earth, humanity had built more ships using the Pathfinder's technology. Under the direction of General William Okonkwo, 5 vessels successfully breached the barrier through weak points mapped by the Pathfinder's data. President Wells addressed the United Earth government about these developments. We now have 6 ships beyond the barrier. establishing hidden bases throughout neighboring systems. Dr. Garcia has created technology that masks human energy signatures from Council sensors. One Council member asked, "Should we not confront the Council directly? Show them our strength?" Wells shook her head. "Not yet. Commander Delgado reports that we found allies, other exiled species who have been fighting the Council from the shadows for centuries. For now, we build our strength in secret." Back at Haven, Delgado and Zara stood looking at a holographic map of the galaxy. Small lights indicated coalition outposts scattered along the galactic rim, far from Council centers, but strategically positioned. "Your people learn quickly," Zara observed. "In just months, you've accomplished what took us years." "Humans adapt well when challenged," Delgado replied. "It's what the Council feared about us. They were right to be afraid." Zora's silver eyes studied Delgado carefully. "The coalition has survived by hiding. Your people seem eager for confrontation." "Not confrontation," Delgado corrected. "Justice. The Council judged us. Now it's our turn to judge them." 5 years passed since the Pathfinder first broke through the barrier. In that time, humanity's presence beyond the solar system grew steadily but remained hidden from the Council. 20 Earth ships now moved freely between the stars, using Dr. Garcia's technology to mask their energy signatures. The coalition of the Exiled had grown too, with humanity becoming its 7th member. Each species contributed unique technologies and perspectives, creating a renaissance of innovation that surprised even the oldest coalition members. In an abandoned mining system far from Council space, the coalition established its headquarters. There, representatives from all 7 species met regularly to share information and plan their future. Captain Nickel Rice stood on the bridge of the EDS Defiance, Earth's first true warship. Built using combined technologies from all coalition species, it was faster, stronger, and more advanced than anything humanity could have created alone. The Defiance was 3 times larger than the Pathfinder, with weapons that could disable a Council cruiser with a single shot. "Captain, we're approaching Coalition HQ, her navigator announced. "Thank you, Mills. Standard approach vector," Rice replied. The massive ship glided toward a cluster of asteroids that concealed the Coalition base. Hidden sensors scanned the Defiance, and a moment later, a section of what appeared to be solid rock slid open, revealing a docking bay. Once docked, Rice made her way to the central chamber where the Coalition Council was meeting. Earth's ambassador, Frank Delano, was already there, deep in conversation with representatives from the other species. Delano was a former diplomat who had worked with Jack Collins 25 years ago during the first contact with the Galactic Council. Now in his 70s, he brought wisdom and perspective to the coalition. "Captain Reyes," he greeted her, just in time. "We were discussing the latest intelligence from Council space." Zara, who now led the Viridian delegation, activated a holographic display. "Our observers report increased Council patrols near the borders of their territory. They suspect something, but they don't know what." "How much longer can we remain hidden?" asked Krell, the insectoid representative. "Each month, our operations grow. Each month, the risk of discovery increases. Which is why we need to accelerate our plans," Delano said. "Humanity has completed 5 dreadnoughts like the Defiance. The Viridians have contributed their cloaking technology. The Sentinel species has provided their advanced shield systems. And what exactly is our plan?" asked a crystalline being named Lith. "We have hidden for centuries, some of us for millennia." "Not war," Delano assured them. "We don't seek to destroy the Council. We seek to change it." He gestured, and a holographic display shifted to show a map of known quarantine systems. "Our goal should be to free these exiled species. Each one we liberate adds to our strength. Eventually, we will be too significant for the Council to ignore or defeat." "And then?" Zara asked. "Then we force them to negotiate, to create a new galactic order based on equality, not dominance," Delano explained. After hours of discussion, the coalition reached a consensus. They would begin operations to locate and free other exiled species, starting with those closest to Coalition territory. Later, Reyes and Delano walked through the base's garden section, where plants from all 7 worlds grew together. "Do you think it will work?" Reyes asked. This plan to change the council rather than overthrow it. Delano stopped to look at a flowering plant from Earth, a simple daisy that someone had brought from home. The council has ruled for thousands of years because their member species believe in their mission. If we simply destroyed them, we would be confirming their judgment of us as violent and dangerous. But if we show we can be more just, more fair than they ever were. Exactly, Delano nodded. The greatest victory isn't destroying your enemy. It's proving them wrong about you. Reyes looked up at the artificial sky of the asteroid base. How long until we're ready to start freeing other exiled species? General Okonkwo believes we'll be ready within 2 months. The fleet is almost prepared. Neither of them knew that their timetable was about to be drastically altered. At that very moment, a council patrol ship was investigating an anomaly at the edge of a distant system, an anomaly caused by a malfunctioning human probe that had failed to activate its masking technology. The council was about to discover that humanity had escaped its prison. The council patrol ship Enforcer drifted near the damaged human probe. Its captain, a reptilian alien named Sorn, examined the strange device with growing concern. This technology, it's human, he told his second-in-command, but it's far more advanced than anything they should possess. Perhaps they received help from outside their barrier. His officer suggested. Impossible. The barrier is perfect, Sorn replied, but doubt crept into his voice. He sent an urgent message to the Galactic Council. Within hours, the council chamber erupted in debate. Councillor Vexnar, the reptilian who had originally pushed for humanity's exile, spoke with fury. I warned you they were dangerous. Now we have proof they've breached containment. The blue-skinned councillor, Seth, tried to calm the situation. We don't know how many humans have escaped, or how far they've traveled. It doesn't matter, Vexnar hissed. Even one human beyond the barrier is too many. They will multiply. They will spread like a disease. After heated arguments, the council voted to send their elite enforcement fleet to Earth. 20 massive warships, each carrying enough firepower to level a continent, set course for the Sol system. Find every human beyond the barrier, Vexnar ordered the fleet commander. Eliminate them, then we will deal with their homeworld. Meanwhile, news of the discovery reached the Coalition headquarters through their spies in council space. Frank Delano immediately called an emergency meeting. The council knows humans have escaped, he announced grimly. They're sending a battle fleet to Earth. How long do we have? Captain Reyes asked. 3 days at most, Zura said. Their new warp drives are faster than we anticipated. Delano tapped his communication device. We need to warn Earth immediately. Back on Earth, President Wells received the message while meeting with her defense council. Her face remained calm, but her eyes showed her alarm. How many ships can we evacuate? She asked General Okonkwo. If we use every ship we have, including cargo vessels and colony transports, perhaps 40% of the population, he answered solemnly. That's not good enough, Wells said firmly. But we have no choice. Begin evacuation immediately. Priority to children, medical personnel, scientists, and engineers. For the next 2 days, Earth became a scene of organized chaos. People lined up at spaceports across the planet. Every ship that could fly was pressed into service. Old space stations were reactivated as temporary shelters. Meanwhile, Captain Reyes and the Defiance led a small fleet of coalition ships to intercept the Council forces. They knew they couldn't defeat 20 Council warships, but they hoped to slow them down. We just need to buy Earth more time, Reyes told her crew. Every hour means thousands more humans saved. But when the Council fleet arrived at the edge of the Sol system, they found something unexpected. Their sensors showed no human life signs on Earth or any of the colonies on Mars and the Moon. The entire solar system appeared deserted. "It's a trick," Vexnar insisted when he received the report. "Humans can't possibly have evacuated an entire planet in just days." Nevertheless, scans show no human life forms, the fleet commander replied. "There are signs of recent activity, but the population is gone." Vexinar's scales darkened with rage. "Follow their trail. They must have left evidence of their escape route." The Council fleet began scanning for warp signatures and soon detected trails leading toward the galactic rim. They changed course to follow. Little did they know they were being led into a trap. President Wells had indeed evacuated Earth, but not in the way the Council imagined. Most of humanity was hidden in massive underground shelters, their life signs masked by technology provided by the Coalition. The few million humans who had left in ships were heading not away from danger, but toward it, to a predetermined rendezvous point where the Coalition forces were gathering. As the Council fleet followed the false trail, they received an unexpected communication. The message came from a massive ship unlike any they had seen before. "This is Ambassador Frank Delano of Earth, representing the Coalition of the Exiled. You have violated our sovereignty for the last time. Turn back now, or face the consequences of your actions." The Council commander laughed. "You think you can threaten the might of the Galactic Council? We have 20 warships. Our scans show you have fewer than 10. Numbers aren't everything," Delano replied calmly. "You're about to learn that lesson." The Council commander ordered his fleet to attack the Coalition ships. "Destroy them all," he commanded. But as the Council vessels moved forward, something unexpected happened. Dozens of ships suddenly appeared all around them, dropping their cloaking fields. The Coalition fleet wasn't just 10 ships, it was over 50, representing all 7 exiled species. In the lead was the EDS Defiance, with Captain Rice standing tall on her bridge. "All ships, defensive positions," she ordered. "Remember, disable rather than destroy when possible." The battle began. Council ships fired their weapons, but the Coalition vessels had shields unlike anything the Council had seen before. Meanwhile, the Coalition's weapons sliced through Council defenses with surprising ease. On the Council flagship, alarms blared as systems failed one after another. "How is this possible?" the commander shouted. "These exiles shouldn't have technology this advanced." "We shared our knowledge," Ambassador Delano explained over the communication channel. "Each exiled species developed different technologies during their isolation. Together, we're stronger than any one of us alone." Within an hour, 5 Council ships had been disabled without a single Coalition loss. The remaining Council vessels pulled back to regroup. On his ship, Councillor Vexnar received the battle reports with growing horror. "Send a message to the Council," he ordered. "We need reinforcements immediately." But the reinforcements would take days to arrive, and the Coalition wasn't waiting. Their ships pressed forward, surrounding the Council fleet. At that moment, a new ship appeared, a small, elegant vessel bearing Council diplomatic markings. On board was Councillor Thera, one of the few moderate voices on the Council. "This fighting must stop," she announced to both sides. "The Council has called for a vote of no confidence against those who ordered this attack." Vexnar hissed in anger. "Traitor, you would side with these primitive exiles." "I side with peace," Thera replied calmly, "and with the truth. For too long, the Council has used exile as a tool of control rather than protection." The battle paused as both sides considered this development. After tense negotiations, a summit was arranged on neutral territory, an uninhabited planet near the battle site. Representatives from the Council met with leaders of the Coalition. President Wells herself arrived from Earth to join Ambassador Delano, Captain Rice, and representatives from all Coalition species. Councillor Thera led a delegation of moderate Council members. For thousands of years, the Council has claimed to protect galactic peace, Wells said, addressing the gathering. But peace built on imprisonment is not true peace. It's just control. "What would you have us do?" Thera asked. "Release all quarantined species, Some truly are dangerous. We propose a new compact, Delano explained. A galactic assembly where all species have equal voice, where differences are respected rather than punished, where technology and knowledge are shared, not hoarded. The old council would never accept this, Thera said. The old council no longer holds power, Delano pointed out. You've seen what we can do together. You can join us as equals, or face us as opponents. After days of discussion, a framework was created for a new galactic government. The quarantine barriers around exiled worlds would be removed. Every species would send representatives to the new assembly. No single group would have power over others. 6 months later, Earth became the headquarters for the new galactic assembly. A massive space station was built in orbit, designed to accommodate beings from hundreds of different worlds. Jack Collins, now 80 years old, stood at a window in the assembly hall, watching representatives arrive from across the galaxy. Linda Morrison stood beside him, her hair now white, but her eyes still sharp. "Did you ever imagine this when we first stood before the council?" she asked him. Collins shook his head. "Never. I just wanted them to give us a chance." "They didn't," Morrison said. "So we took it anyway." Below them, the blue marble of Earth turned slowly. No longer exiled, no longer contained, humanity had found its place among the stars. And the galaxy would never be the same.